When searching to purchase a property, it is necessary to follow some proper steps to get the most for your money. We can help you in every step of the buying process to achieve this.
The first thing to establish is to know how the purchase will be funded. Will the purchase be made in cash, or will the buyer require a mortgage?
If the buyer will be making a cash offer, he or she must provide some sort of proof that the cash is available before an offer can be made. A bank statement or a letter from the bank is necessary to certify that the funds for the purchase are available. It is important that the funds be in the buyer's account for at least 30 days and proof that the funds are not a loan from anyone or any institution that needs to be paid back.
If the buyer will be needing a mortgage to make the purchase, then a pre-qualification by a lender is required along with the amount of mortgage a potential buyer is qualified for. At times, a buyer might not get approved for a mortgage. At such times, we will provide the buyer with some remedies that can help the him/her work towards obtaining a mortgage approval by making some changes to the application by resolving some of the issues that led to the mortgage application denial.
It is necessary to establish the purchase budget or purchase power before shopping for a property. This budget depends on the cash available and/or the amount of mortgage the buyer is approved for, or a combination of both. The amount of money a buyer wants to invest in a property is client dependent, even though the client might have more than enough cash and or be approved for a higher amount of mortgage.
Once the budgeting is set and cash funds and/or a mortgage is approved, it is necessary to look at the buyer's requirements in a property. These requirements include the desired location of the property, the living space size, the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, the size of the land the property is on, etc. A list of such buyer requirements needs to be made, followed by an evaluation of the desired property versus the available budget for the purchase. Does the purchase budget cover or match the desired property location, size, and other requirements?
Once it is realized that the buyer's requirements can be met through his or her purchase budget, we provide the buyer with a list of 10 properties that closely fit those requirements. The buyer will then pick 5 from the list and then further reduce the selected properties to 3. We will then schedule to visit the 3 properties with the buyer. If none of the 3 properties are liked by the client, then we will schedule to view the other 2. We will repeat this process until a property is found that the buyer likes. We will be flexible to any changes the buyer would want to make to their requirements as we visit more properties and discuss the pros and cons of every home with the buyer as she or he gains more experience in evaluating each visited property.
As soon as a property is found that the buyer likes, we will take the next steps to further inform the buyer of the condition of the property. There are a few steps in this process, such as studying and evaluating the property's home inspection report, scheduling a visit by a licensed and bonded general contractor to obtain an estimate on the cost of any necessary updates if required. Based on this gathered information and further consultation with the buyer, we will adjust the offer price.
We will also provide the buyer with a CMA or comparable market analysis report to closely estimate the value of the property that the buyer will be making an offer to purchase. This is done to inform the client and establish the value of the property based on existing market conditions. Once an offer is made, we will continue with any necessary negotiations such as price negotiation, closing costs, rent back if required, etc., to make sure the buyer is getting the most of his or her investment.
Once the offer is accepted, we will begin the escrow process and support the process by keeping the buyer informed of each and every step. We will handle any issues that might arise during this process and provide timely consultation to make sure the buyer is protected and informed until the purchase is completed and the transfer of ownership is made.
During the closing phase, we will apply our rebate and provide the buyer with $5,000 for every $1 million of the purchase price. For example, if the property was purchased for $1.5 million, the buyer will receive $7,500 at close of escrow. This is an additional incentive for the buyer to further benefit from working with our group, on top of having received the best service possible.